What's the difference between me and you, me and you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 2. Welcome back. For your first time, my name's Chris, and I got with me...
DJ Bree.
So last week, we talked about the slapped heard around the world for Chris Rock and Will Smith. Now, we got a little small sponsorship going on, so I want to give a shout-out to Daddies Unite. Daddies Unite's a nonprofit organization that is working towards single fathers, getting them together and discuss issues and helping them raise their kids. It's a great organization, so they gave me this shirt, and I had to wear it today. We're going to talk about our kids today.
There was an article that came out about Chris Rock, and it stated that, he was bullied growing up, and the slap actually, triggered a traumatic response, and he was shaking, and immediately after he got off stage, he went home.
Yeah.
And so that prompted me, maybe we need to talk about, kids being bullied.
Kids and bullying, yeah.
How we raising our kids out here.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's not just the iPads raising our kids. We actually, as fathers and mothers, have to take an active response to it. I don't think I was ever bullied in my past, actually. There was nothing that came up that was little jokes and stuff like that, but nothing serious. Like, did you have any experiences of being bullied when you were a kid?
I've never been bullied. I wouldn't have called myself a bully, but I was a class clown.
Okay,
a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I not really physically did it, but talked about kids and stuff like that.
Right. You would make fun of other kids, but not ruin them, not send them home crying.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
No, but
All
I think it's that was the black culture, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We bag.
Right.
And I mentioned that before.
Yes, I learned this term last week.
It was called bagging.
Right.
But my son,
we gotta talk about this.
My 15-year-old son, he recently moved with us. He's been with us for about a year now. And when he moved, we were living in the Valley, Northridge, and we moved out to Simi Valley. And so Simi Valley is predominantly white, Republican, Trump supporters, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So far, he's had 2 fights at school.
2 fights?
Two
Physical,
fights that I know of.
Okay. Physical, we're not just talking about verbal.
No, yeah, definitely physical fights. The first one, I would say, was justified.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The kids was picking on him.
Yeah.
It was picture day.
Yeah.
And they was all joking, and he just said it was nonstop.
Yeah.
You're all right, it's not funny no more.
Right.
We get it.
He can take a few, but
what I'm saying? It's it's nonstop, and then somebody called him a bitch and all of that, and he fired on the guy.
They do the daddy 1-2 or the 2. What did you call it last time?
A 2-piece.
2-piece.
Nah, but he had to fight her, however. But all the coaches, they said he didn't get in trouble.
Yeah. Was this at a practice, or it was
it was picture day?
Picture day for football.
For football.
Okay.
And they just said it was too far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The coaches knew it was a problem.
They said it was too far, and he did what he was supposed to do, and they would have more than likely done the same thing.
Okay.
But it was also a teachable moment for him, not to lose his cool, and there's other ways to handle it.
Right.
But, I was a proud father in that moment when the coaches tell you that he did what he did and did it the right way.
Right. I wonder, though, how other parents would respond just hearing, oh, your son got in a fight. I'm trying to imagine, what would it be like if Luke got in a fight? How would I feel about it? I think I would ask, all right, justified or not, are you defending yourself, defending somebody else? Because that's a big thing is, defend your friends. If your friends are being picked on, then, be there. Well, I'm sure that there'll be a day. I won't be surprised. He's a redhead, so I'm sure somebody's going to talk some ginger smack to him or something. Explain what happened with the other fight.
So the second fight, he was actually called, I guess first it was nigga, and then once...
AR?
No.
G-A-R?
No.
E-R?
No, G-A.
G-A, excuse me.
Called him a nigga.
Spelling, yeah.
But I guess once they seen that it was a trigger, they end up going
kept
further and called him a nigger. And
What's the difference to you? when somebody says that those two.
Okay, so the word has like evolved. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And I'm not saying it's okay, but like pretty much everybody used the word. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, not nigger.
GA, yeah.
The GA. Like it's very common. You know what I'm saying?
Is that okay for white people to say?
I wouldn't feel comfortable with
Right,
white people
okay.
saying it,
Yeah.
but you know.
I mean, I'll tell you honest. Like I even like when I said talked about earlier, like Negro itself is Negro Baseball League. Like there's history to that. That was an acceptable way to say it. Still, it's not a comfortable thing to say for me. But go ahead.
Yeah, he met the guy in the bathroom and fought the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And this fight I had a problem with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we got to use teachable moments, you know, for our kids.
Right.
In the black community, it's like, did you win?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that one wasn't for me like, oh, did you win? Or that was just like, okay, so you followed him to the bathroom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they also
You
they
your
got this on video.
You got your friends filming this.
Incriminating yourself.
You incriminating yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you was going to fight, fight right then and there.
Yeah. Take it behind the bleachers kind of thing.
Well,
like,
not take it
let
behind the
die.
bleachers, because when you take it behind the bleachers, that's premeditated. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But you're saying to just do it in front of everybody, do it in front of the class?
if
It's right there and
if
then
it
everybody hears
offended
it.
you that bad, or you know, but
Yeah.
even though those are just words,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, to take it back to what we talked about last week,
Yeah.
like words, like somebody saying something,
Yeah.
it's not acceptable just to go hit somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, I really like, yeah, he called you the N-word, nigga, but like, did that really bother you? Did it really hurt you? Was
Right.
it worth getting suspended? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is it worth, you know, his parents possibly pressing charges?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
And he's a gifted athlete too. So that's the thing. You always have to look at your future. And like if you can't graduate, you get expelled from a school, and then you have to go somewhere else. Not only does it put pressure on you as a parent, but then also like he could get scholarships eventually, and you don't want this to be on your permanent record, as they say.
and he's a really great athlete, you know.
And he's a good kid, at least to me. But like obviously, I don't call him.
No,
N-word.
he's a good kid, you know, but peer pressure is a mother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That
And
world star fame.
And I feel that, you know, he was pressured, like, oh, he called you a nigger.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
that friend backing up, like you can let him do that. You can let him do that.
And like, I need my son to know that we need to stay level-headed, and we have goals to achieve. And you getting expelled, and you know, getting stuff on your record, or possibly going to juvenile hall.
Right.
That's like, you know,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
not where we're going, and that's not how I'm raising you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The parent wanted to meet with me.
Yeah, and I thought that conversation. I tell them, but like that conversation, I thought was really a relief on my end that it didn't become a lawsuit. But go ahead.
Yeah, so the parent she wanted to meet, it looked like she possibly was a single mother, you know, raising a son, and she wanted to meet. The principal was like, this is not something that we usually do, but if you guys are okay with meeting, like, we can set that up. And I was open to meeting, you know what I'm saying, because I wanted her to see
You're a reasonable father.
I'm reasonable, and like, I'm not raising an animal. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I also wanted to, you know, see what she had to say about her son
Yeah.
saying the N-word. So immediately she came in and apologized and said, hey, you know, this is not how I raised him.
Right. Right.
You know, like,
And he was his ethnicity was like Hispanic,
yeah,
white.
he I think he was Hispanic.
Yeah.
And another thing is my son is partially Hispanic. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But she came in and she immediately was like, no, you know, this is not how we raised him. And
Right.
he
Right.
shouldn't be using his word. And I've told him about his mouth, and his mouth got the best of him this time. And I just don't want this to happen again.
Right.
And which was a great relief, because
Yeah.
it could have.
It could have been a lot worse. I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine if it was, you know, a Karen type white mom, like that's you're looking at a lot of problems.
My question to you is, you're a white parent, and obviously your son is white, you
Right.
know, like, what are you teaching him in the house, you know, about the N-word, or, you know, racism?
Right. There's a lot to teach, and you kind of wonder, like, when is the right time? Like when do you introduce? Because obviously when you introduce something, that's when they get curious about it. So you asked me, I think a while ago, like, have I had a talk with him, or when do I think I will? And so we kind of he was there actually when we asked that question. So we kind of just brought it up. It's like, hey, do you know what the N word is? And he made up some like cute response that
It was adorable.
had nothing to do with what it actually is. And so we actually right then and there we had that conversation. It's like, okay, well this is what it is, and this is what it means, and this is why you should never say it. And I know there's a lot of white people out there who feel entitled or question, like, well, why can't I say it? Like how much melanin do I have to have in my skin to say it, right? And I don't think I think you can say it. Like I think anybody can say it, but guess what? You deal with those consequences. If somebody doesn't like it, which most people don't, you're gonna have to face that problem. And I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok and on anywhere really that people getting the crap beat out of them because they said it. I know it's a word that my friends use. I get called it several times when we're playing football or something, and it's just something that is not reciprocated, because I know it's like I have the respect, one, for myself and for the history of the word, and so I don't feel like I need to use it. It's not one of those things that's part of my vocabulary.
Well, I have a question. If I never asked you, have you had that conversation with your son, which at that time you didn't,
No.
would you have had it, or when would you have had that conversation?
When would I've had it? And it's a good tip for a lot of parents, I guess. I feel like as soon as there's a possibility of them hearing it, anywhere between like 8 to 10 is like, he's 8 right now, so that we had the conversation. Because I think at that point, they understand their words, they understand what they're saying, and they're starting to get into that camaraderie with their friends where they're hanging out and they're talking about stuff. And especially with this YouTube, like everybody watching YouTube, and if you don't have parental controls on there, they can watch anything, and those algorithms are crazy. And those kids on there who are 15, 16, 17, they're talking about things that you've not even prepared them for. So,
Well, so that's what I was gonna say. You said that, possibly when he's possibly gonna hear it or however.
yeah.
Like, how do you, like? I hear it all the time, like everywhere. So like,
Yeah, right. Well, I guess in music, and I mean, it's hard to avoid a lot of times. I think it goes over their heads though. Like it's just another thing that's like I don't understand what that is, and so they don't question every word.
Okay, so then they singing a song,
Right.
blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
my nigga, and
Right, yeah.
he's singing a song in front of the wrong person and get popped.
Well,
You
a
know
good
what I'm
thing
saying?
he doesn't actually like he doesn't listen to hip hop. So I don't control that, but that's just not his jam. Like I said, he likes EDM and that kind of music. So it hasn't really come up. I mean, his mom and I, we don't filter ourselves. So like we will say things. So he knows those words, and he said them back to us.
He said it back.
but-
Rewind. Hold on.
Like shit, and like he'd say like fuck every once in a while. But
And
like
you didn't pop him in his mouth.
no.
Oh wow.
No, I don't pop him in his mouth. No, I'm cool. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. But I say, you say that at school, and I hear you say that at school, I'm going to do something about it. I'm totally fine with him cussing. Because he's going to do it. He's going to do it with his friends. He's going to do it anytime.
That's white
I don't
people
teach
shit for you right there.
Okay,
That's definitely white people.
We're definitely going to get into this for sure.
Like, whoa, wait, rewind. To each his own.
Yeah.
I can never judge a man by how he raises his son. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I mean, you can. You just don't have
I
to agree with him.
definitely like. I don't want to hear my son say like. I know he cusses, but
Yeah.
like we have to have boundaries, and I
Okay.
think once you allow them to cuss, I think
Yeah.
that's for me.
Yeah.
It's crossing a boundary, because then it put us in buddy mode, like we're friends. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
I see what you're doing there.
I don't want him to think that we're friends. Like I'm your father.
and
you
I
know,
hear-
we
I hear
cool,
Yeah.
but I'm your father.
I hear that you don't want to be friends. You don't want to be your child's best friend, because you do have to have those boundaries. Do you filter yourself in front of them?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Not
but
at all.
but then you don't want them to do it.
Yeah,
You don't want them to
it's-
cuss in front of you. Now
it's-
I
it's
get
do as I
cussing-
say, not what I do.
Right, but I get cussing at you, like "fuck you, dad." Usually it's in jest, and usually it's kind of funny. So he's not at that point yet where he's cussing back at us or doing something like being upset and cussing. So it's not doing that. So I think there are boundaries, and he knows it. Like, he gets called out for it. Like, every time he does swear, then it becomes one of those like, all right, but you're not doing that shit at school, right?
Okay, but we talking about stereotypes here.
Yeah.
And it's that stereotype that, white kids cuss their parents out and stuff like that. So do you think, by
I
you
think
allowing that is going to be like some brewing in a pot and then it may eventually blow over? Like, fuck that and fuck you. I'm not doing that shit.
I get a lot of no's. Like, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm getting that. I'm getting a lot of no's.
And then the next is going to be like, fuck no.
Then he's really gonna get it. So I think with a lot of with white parents, speaking for myself, we do the punishments. We do this. It's leveled punishments. Like, okay, go to your room, or you lose out on watching stuff or watching YouTube. You lose out on screen time, that kind of thing. But it is usually like you lost this now for a week, and it just gets worse and worse and worse of a punishment. But at some point that doesn't work. Because it's one, they're going to school then, so they can do whatever they want at school. Especially, he doesn't have a cell phone now, but I know in 2 to 4 years he's going to have one, and you can only go so far in controlling that, right? So I get the respect aspect that you're trying to build up, but I guess is it a fear-based respect? And I think that's where the culture may be different.
Okay,
that
so
we don't have a fear-based respect.
But okay, so
I think it's a punishment.
I've thought about this because my older two boys.
Yeah.
I have a 17-year-old and I have a 15-year-old.
Yeah. So you have some experience with them being older and more independent, which is really helpful.
So yeah, let me correct it. He'll be 17 this year, but I have a 16 and a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And when they were younger, I whooped their ass.
Yeah.
And it's not something I'm proud of, but that was just me. That's how I was raised. That's how
right.
You know
what you know.
I knew what I. But now, I was introduced to something else, and so now, like, my daughter and my daughters more than likely won't get spankings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you weren't introduced to it, though, do you think you would treat your daughters the same? Like, as far as, like, the gender
treatment? There was
treatment?
no discrimination.
Yeah.
You get your ass whooped.
Right.
You know
okay. So there's no gender.
Yeah. So, but now, like, no, my daughters, they won't get spankings. And, like, my son, he just moved back with us, like I stated at the beginning.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't put my hands on. I use punishment, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes it just take you to, get out of the environment that you were in or,
right.
be around people and you can see that you can still raise good kids without putting your hands
right.
on them.
So it's not necessarily a black cultural thing. Well, you would say a lot of it, though? Like a majority? I mean, I know you can't really speak
I can't speak for everybody,
Yeah.
but I know, like, when I was raised and the kids that I was raised around, we got our ass whooped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know you grew up in Compton, so it's one of those things where single mom or stepdad, patience usually wears thin when you're growing up in a rougher environment, right? So you get probably, was she mad more?
I don't
You don't think it has anything to do with that?
No, not with the environment. I think that's all she knew. Well, my grandfather, her father, whooped her ass. You know what I'm saying?
And a generational thing.
It's very generational because we hear stories of my great grandmother busting my grandfather across the head with skillets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's a generational thing, and
Yeah.
I just think that, it just goes back to, the slave days. I remember you mentioned, fear-based punishment,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
like, fear was instilled in us, you know what
Right.
I'm saying, by beating our asses,
and the whips and
getting whips.
Yeah.
If we tried to escape anything that we tried to do, you know what I'm saying?
And it was in front of everybody, and
In front of
everybody,
everybody, very
Right.
shaming. This is a different subject that we can talk about later, but they pick the strongest man, and they rape him in front of everybody. You know,
they'd rape the man.
Yeah,
because obviously the women and
no, they
they demasculate.
Yes.
100%.
In the black community, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but a good portion of us, it's generational.
Yeah.
It goes back years and years and years, and that's what we know.
But generationally, do you think they were in not as comfortable positions, though? You understand what I'm saying? Like, where, like, when you have when you have all the time in the world, you have all day to just be with your kids and do whatever, even though how exhausting that is. The way you're supposed to do, according to the books of parenting, you're supposed to take the child out of the situation. If they're throwing a tantrum, you're in the grocery store, you leave the grocery store, which you can't do that when you're in a rush. Like, this is the time to shop. Like, I have to shop. And I see a lot of black parents when they're shopping and they have their kids that they're dragging along. It's tough.
So that's what we call home training.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you fix that at home. So when you go out in public, we ain't got to worry about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we call it home training.
Huh.
You know, you
Okay.
train your kids at home. And it's like with me or like my siblings, all my mom really had to do was give a look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And or she'd say, when we get home, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or you go like we go to a friend's house and play all day and
Right.
you know, you
Yeah.
do something, she don't want to whoop you there. She like,
Right.
when you get
Yeah.
home, I'm gonna whoop your
She'll
ass.
embarrass you.
Try to hurry up and go home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she come and pull those covers back and whoop your ass. Like, nah, you ain't sleep.
Did you get a Switch? Is that
Um,
so? A Switch could be anything. I guess like traditionally, was it like a branch, right?
I think that's more country shit.
Okay.
But like, I've got with belts.
Belts and like
Sometimes she
Yeah.
use open hands. Sometimes she use closed hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, you mentioned fear based.
yeah.
So as I got older, now I had the mindset like, yeah, what you gonna do? What I didn't say it, but now my mindset's like, what you gonna do? What my ass? Like, you can't whoop me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And so I think what's important now is to let your kids know when they're actually disappointing you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
that disappointed me. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we all fear something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we fear going to jail.
Yep.
So just because it's
Yeah.
not physical, you can fear something mentally, you
Right.
know? So fear is a way of controlling.
Correct. I'm gonna behave because I'm gonna lose out on this, or I'm not gonna be able to go out with my friends because I misbehave. So there's a fear of losing out. So I get that. I guess the my theory, and I don't know if this is a white thing. I assume this is kind of more of a white thing, maybe, is that by hitting them, what you're doing is you're making them feel like
Instant repercussion.
well, yes, that's one benefit, but that at some point though they're gonna start disrespecting you. I feel like they're not gonna take what you're trying to do by disciplining them and trying to get them to go this way. At some point, I feel like you lose respect by doing that, as opposed to going the long term route. So like the instant ramifications, like you said. Yeah, you get them to stop. You get them to stop crying. You get them to stop doing this. The long term way is to again get to that disappointment level where it's like, I was so proud of you when you did this without me asking, or making them feel like, oh, I did a good job. I want to impress them. I want to make them happy, as opposed to I don't want to get hit. So I think that's maybe my thinking.
So that's where I moved to. I moved to
Right.
like, I want them to know that they disappointed me, and I
Yeah.
don't want them to feel like, hey, I'm disappointing my dad. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, exactly.
And so like Bryce recently talked to Jasmine, like he feels more comfortable talking to her, and he was like, I know I've been messing up, and my dad is really disappointed in me.
And
You know
that's
I'm
what you want. It's
Yeah.
that trust. So like that's where I feel like, and again, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but you build that trust with them, and by using violence to get there, you get it instantly, but then you lose that trust.
Parenting, it has a lot of elements. You know what I'm saying? So one, it depends on the kid.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, every kid is different. You gotta figure out ways to do it.
I've seen people that got their ass whooped and still like become doctors, lawyers, and successful people,
Right.
and still have the utmost respect and
Yeah.
appreciation for getting their ass whooped.
Sure.
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes I needed
So
motivation. Sure.
So it there's really like no book to it. Like
Absolutely.
whooping ass is easy for sure.
Yeah.
And the way you talking about it does take a lot of patience. There's times that you can talk to a kid and take all their privileges, and they still like
Doesn't
fuck
do it.
you and don't respect you, and it doesn't
Absolutely.
work, and
Yeah,
still
yeah.
turn out as fuck ups. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's no right way. And that's
Yeah.
why I feel like I can't judge somebody on how they raise their kid.
Right.
Because all these doctors and all that, they can write a book and say this is how you're supposed to do it. These development people, is no right way. I've been blessed, like my daughter. She's a great kid, you know what I'm saying? Like she's a kid, you know, you still got to tell her sometimes more than once, but for the most, like she's a really great, smart, and she's very special.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like you don't have to, you know.
Yeah.
And like I may take her iPad from her and like that'll be enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So as she gets older,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we just see how
that goes.
And
I do feel like there is an age range where like tactics have to change as they get older. Because obviously, like when they're 15, 16, and then when they're driving or something, you can't just take away their car. You can't
why
take
not?
their cell phone.
No, that's
not going to do anything.
One of the things I feel, and like also with me growing up,
Yeah.
is like, okay, I did have like a good life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like bad. You
Yeah.
know, like I had everything I needed.
Right.
You know, we had everything like we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like when you can give your kids things, you know what I'm saying, and then you can take them back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
some of these parents, they have nothing to take away from the kids.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what is the punishment?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They already in a room with no TV or already in a room with no
Yeah.
laptop or
Right.
however. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't their parents can't afford to buy them clothes and shoes. Like right
Yeah.
now, like my son, I'm not buying him any shoes and clothes until he get his grades up. Like
Yeah.
for his birthday, Christmas, or however, but you're not
Yeah.
getting any extra.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you
Mhm.
can go to school and fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of parents can't
Yeah.
do that. You know, and it's not just a black thing. It's like just some people, they can't afford to like
Yeah.
give their kids things to
Yeah.
take away, you know? So like, yeah, once my son start driving, you know, I'm gonna take his car keys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, you gotta walk or you gotta find a ride. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that gives like you have to find things to give yourself leverage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
True.
so like some parents just don't have that leverage, you know?
Yeah.
And they I guess have to resort to whooping ass.
Yeah. I mean, as a parent, you know what you know from your parents. So either you believe that what they did was the right thing to do and that's what you should do for your kids, or it's like, no, I really didn't like that, so I'm going to change it. And it's really hard to do that. I feel like it takes a partner who comes from a different experience and can kind of share their experience, and maybe that changes you and changes your tactics.
So if you did decide to use physical discipline on Luke, do you think his mother would appreciate that or stand behind you, or was she opposed to it?
So we co-parent. So I think we've kind of already established that we aren't the type of parents who hit. So we're that's not our style. So I don't think if I tried to like introduce that or change tactics, that it'd be hard for me to actually do that, because I feel very strongly about not doing it. Not only because I feel like it's kind of been hammered in me, it's like that's the wrong thing to do because of that emotional trust. At this age, for him, he's already 8, so like he already knows what his previous punishments are, and so for me to change that now on him, maybe would get the instant turnaround. Really, really thinking about it, I don't think when it came push to shove, I don't think it would actually work.
So yeah, I think had a good conversation. And
Yeah,
got
we
some
finally
good,
got some differences.
Yeah, got some good perspective. We definitely have some differences, because I know damn well, and my son is not saying fuck in front of me and not
There's some context there, but yeah, I know I'm gonna get a lot of slack from a certain group of people, and I will say, like, I'm not. Again, I don't represent every white person. I'm sure that even some white people will say, like, I don't do that, but in my family, it's okay within reason. And Amanda will probably see this and go, "What the hell are you talking about? That's not what we do." In my eyes, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna drink the first beer with him. I'm gonna smoke the first joint with him. Like that's what my family does. And in my eyes, that's what I want to do. I want to be there for him and do the first thing.
That is a good thing. Like I totally believe in that too. Like if you're gonna do anything, they need to do it at home first before they go out in the real world and
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging it,
Right.
But you know, some things you just can't get away from. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's gonna be there, and that's why I have that stance on cursing. Is let's do it with me. Let's get you saying it. Or well, I'm not trying to egg him on to say it. That's terrible.
Like, that's my boy.
That's my boy. But I want him to think, okay, have control of it. Because if you are saying it with your friends and you're going to say it in classroom, and that's how you learn it, it's going to pop up. But if you can learn to control everything and be modest about everything, then that's where you can control.
See,
and
but I
again,
think
you don't have to agree.
But I think that's kind of hard because, well, if I can say fuck in front of my dad, then who are you? I should be able to say fuck in front of you.
Time and place. That's what I'll say. It's like you got to understand. Like you have to be able to control it. It cannot slip out. And that's every time there is a curse that comes from him. That's where it's like, okay, but we're not saying that in front of our teachers, right? There's a time and place to swear at home where it's fun, where it's protected.
It's okay in front of your friends and stuff like that.
In front of my friends?
Yeah, or
I mean, at his age, it's cute, right?
no, that's not cute. Because if Luke was right here and he's like, no, fuck that. Damn, I'm gonna look at you
But he's not. That's the thing. It's like it's not like he's saying every other word is that. So I don't know. With my experience so far, so good. But I'll eat crow if when he gets older, and all you people are saying that. See, I told you. So we'll see. I'll get back to you. If this podcast is still going in like 4 or 5 years, I'll update you. Yeah, that was a great show. Like I said, we have a lot of differences, but we have a lot of similarities, and all of our tactics and styles are okay, and that's what we need to appreciate. We need to have these conversations, uncomfortable or not. We're gonna have some more very uncomfortable conversations, but it needs to happen. This is the Differences Black and White podcast, and find us on all our social medias. We did a little mini live today. On Facebook. So we need all the comments and questions. We want to hear it. Even if you think I'm wrong about every little thing or Bree's wrong about one thing, we want to hear it. We want to hear it all. We want comments. We want to talk to you and bring it on the show. So
I want to hear what the white people got to say.
That's right. And I'll listen to what the black people have to say.
He want to hear what the coloreds got to say. Look, you got red.
I was gonna say something else, but I had to censor that real quick. All right, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, y'all have a good one.
What's the difference between?